What if I told you that there is an innocent self-development technique that helps you discover who you really are? Imagine if there was a guide to help you uncover those different parts of yourself. Your strengths, your weaknesses, the things you are not aware of, but even the things about yourself that you don't understand. Myths do exactly that. They're so much more than just old stories. They are very powerful tools in uncover the different layers of ourselves. So in this series, we're going to dive into the myths behind astrology to shed light on those different parts of ourselves. It's basically innocent wisdom applied to modern day. Hello and welcome back. My name is Jada. I first discovered astrology in summer 2023, and with astrology, I mean the real astrology, not the thing that you just read in the newspaper, because there's like a whole science behind it that most people are not even aware of. So what I soon realized is that astrology is not just a horoscope or a way to predict something, but it's basically a very powerful tool to explain the inner dynamics that are happening inside of us all the time. So astrology uses archetypes to explain those energies. For example, the mother, the warrior, the lover. There's a lot of different archetypes who basically represent a certain energy. For example, a mother can be very nurturing. On the other side, she can be way overprotective. So how do myths come into this? Myths basically are stories filled with those different archetypes. Whether it's an innocent story like the Trojan War or a modern one like Spider-Man, each of those stories is filled with those different archetypes who represent an energy that we have inside of us. They're like the different parts of our personality. For example, in Aladdin and the Wonderlamp, characters like Jasmine, Aladdin, the genie, Jafar, the Sultan represent different parts of ourselves. And each of that archetype has a message that we can explore to better understand ourselves. So if you're curious to see how those stories can bring a different perspective to your life and to your self-development journey, you know the drill. Subscribe, leave a comment down below and like the video and turn on the notification settings. Now, while with this series I want to particularly focus only on the myths itself, eventually I want to make another series that goes more into the astrology aspect of it, that kind of explains the dynamic of those different archetypes in more detail in the individual person. As you already know by now, myths and archetypes have been used since ancient times, from the Greeks themselves, who actually used those myths to explain the complexity of human nature, even in a more philosophical way, if you so will. But even to modern day people like Carl Gustav Jung, who is one of the co-founders of modern psychology as we know it today. Carl Gustav Jung, as a matter of fact, derived a lot of his concept and principle from those myths, like from astrology, archetypes, and all that kind of stuff. Carl Gustav Jung actually believed that a person is born with the potential of whole, but over time parts of ourselves get fragmented because we start to overemphasize certain parts of our psychology and suppress other parts. So we're only going to work with certain archetypes while we ignore the others or suppress them. So the goal is to work on ourselves so we can ultimately become whole again. Now, myths and astrology and archetypes are an incredible, useful and powerful tool to achieve exactly that. By exploring the myths, we get the opportunity to tap into those different parts of ourselves that are either suppressed or overemphasized to create balance again. It's actually very simple and effective. So whenever you listen to a story, watch a movie, read a book, all you gotta do is observe on how you react to that story and to the characters. Do you very much relate to the hero, to the villain, or even to the sidekick? Depending on who you connect to and how you feel about the character, it reveals which part of yourself, which archetype inside you needs attention. This also works in everyday life. So for example, on a day-to-day behavior that you have, it kind of reflects the archetype that is dominant or active inside of you. For example, on a day where you're super relaxed, a certain archetype is going to be active and dominant, versus another day where you might be like down to business, getting things done. There's a totally different archetype that is active in that moment. So even there, there's like a balance, a constant movement of the archetypes, and it's about balancing those out. So the key question to ask yourself is, What archetype is it and what is it trying to tell me? Now, it doesn't mean that you have to dissect every archetype in every single moment. It's more about looking at the extremes, like which archetype is acting out. And that one is the one trying to get your attention and be like, there's something to look at. And this is what we're going to do with the myths. We're going to look at those extremes, like how does it look when it's overactive? How does it look if it's suppressed? And what would a balanced version of it look like? That's it for the intro video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm really excited to get this started. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. And if you have any questions, otherwise I see you in the next one.